Absolutely. Yeah. And we mentioned about like how important that is for like the right team to tackle the different motion, right? Like how do you organize teams to tackle PLG and SLG? Like, do you have the central team that tackles both at the same time, or do you organize by functional? So an example I have is, okay, like maybe for PMM, you can have separate dedicated PMMs for PLG core product versus enterprise motion. Maybe for demand gen, you have your central team with different channels, and the channel owners do both PLG and sales-led type of campaigns. Or maybe you can have like separate teams for PLG and enterprise channels. So how have you seen organizations tackle the PLG versus SLG teams?
Yeah, I mean, I can only, again, I really can only speak to sort of like product marketing and sort of what we did. You know, these org design thing is really important. I think it's going to be, I think every company, as they sort of layer on, they're going to start shifting people around and creating new teams and whatnot. At least, so I'll talk about PMM for a moment. Like on the product marketing side, right? Sort of PMMs in the PLG world, they're very much kind of like sitting growth, right? Like they kind of straddle growth a little bit. They're focused on, you know, onboarding activation. So how do you get someone to educate, right? Education, learning, development. They have community PMMs that are driving sort of community efforts to get more and more users to spread word of mouth and help each other and develop that really great sort of foundation of users. You know, there's monetization PMMs that think about how to get people to convert to pay, and there's like packaging pricing as well. You know, at Airtable, I think when we sort of layer on the sales motion, right, you kind of go from like, if, for example, there's maybe a PMM that does release stuff that pushes out new features, and in the PMM world for enterprise, like you might have a launch PMM team that focuses on launching, and launching and releasing are very different things, right? Releasing is just pushing a feature out. Launching is making a statement in the market that's strategic to the company, right? You have solutions product marketing, which is thinking about what is the actual solution we're selling. Not, you know, solution can be a number of use cases, for example, but really solving a core business problem. We have competitive intelligence product marketing. We have platform partner ecosystem product marketing. We have analyst relations product marketing. Like these are all the things that you have to add on from a product marketing perspective. Like, you know, but I don't know if there's anything like special about the way the other teams are organized. Like we still had a content team, we still have a creative team, we still have a comms team, we still had a marketing ops and technology team, we still had a, you know, field marketing team if we, you know, sort of doing field events. But I think like it's not about, it's maybe a little less about the org and about what they're doing to drive growth across additional channels, right? Yeah, but again, I can't speak to the other teams. I'm sure the marketing, like tech and like Martech and strategy ops team have to completely change by bringing in like all these new tools like Marketo or something like that. You know, like again, I'm not an expert there, but there's probably a lot happens in certain teams more so than others. PMM probably has to evolve a lot, and I'm guessing like demand gen has to retool probably as well. Yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, even when you have a central team that manages both self-serve and enterprise, naturally there could be more focus of a certain people based on their channel. Like an example would be like LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn by nature, it is more of an enterprise channel versus a Google search ads is by nature more a self-serve channel. So sometimes it's just like the person who manage Google search ads tend to focus more or spend like majority of their time on self-serve keywords or campaigns, and versus the LinkedIn person ends up being in more like enterprise marketing meetings. And how does the role evolve during this time? Like you mentioned that you know, working on competitive intelligence, analyst relations. Do you see the PMM role evolve during the sales-led motion?
I mean, absolutely. the biggest aspect, I think for at least from the, again, this is a product market perspective, I think sales enablement is like a big sort of leap for the product market perspective, right? Like it's this, you have to develop materials, training, that can take a new AE that knows nothing about buyers, the market, product, landscape, and make them productive. Basically, like, should they get them to the point where they're hitting 100% of quota on the ramp over usually a AE ramp is going to be like 2 or 3 quarters maybe, but like, so you can think about like all the things. So that's like enablement, just purely education and training and materials. You have to build that. All that has to exist now, because before that was nothing there, right? It's like you kind of had PMMs that could do like some launching motion, releasing, launching. You kind of have folks that can do that, but usually this is going to be a net new function, at least in product marketing. I think that's one of the biggest. I think again, analyst relations, that's kind of a specialized thing. Competitive intelligence, you mentioned. What else did we add? Like, it's just I mean, I'd say that's the biggest thing. It's it's like sometimes a PMM's job is to build a deck, like for a sales team. It's true. I hate to say it, but it is very true. And then the other aspect is campaigns. So again, I think like there's motions that are designed to drive like organic signups, for example, or like get signups through. And then there's like campaigns integrated that combine field motions with sort of digital motions, right? Like, what content are you targeting people who are in the buying committee that aren't going to sign up? So you have to think about how do you develop that journey that's a separate journey alongside the user that's signing up potentially, right? So that's hard. Like, think about like, at Airtable, I created this like huge document in Lucidchart, which was like showcasing like what is the standard of like these things are moving at the same time, right? Usually the user signs up first, not always the case, but they're activating, and then there's like a sales rep that reaches out to a director, and then you have like these 2 separate journeys that go like this, and then you introduce IT at like some stage of the opportunity. Like, so you have to expand your funnel beyond like monetization to include sales stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, discovery, new business meeting, evaluation, proof of concept, proposal, negotiation, close 1. What are you doing as a marketing team like along that journey too? So I think that requires like new thinking from product marketing as well, of like, because a lot of the tactics you use aren't effective when it's a late stage opportunity, right? Like an executive dinner might be the best lever you have, like versus like a million ebooks or something. I don't know. Yeah, these are just things that we have to develop.